What is John Wick's style? And can it be adapted into a normal everyday outfit? We're going to take a look at his style in the first movie, John Wick. I know subscribers and regular viewers have been requesting many times for me to cover John Wick, and finally it's here. I love getting requests, especially for movies I haven't seen before. So if you have ideas of movies you want me to cover the clothing in, leave them in the comments below. Now let's get on with it, and before we get to my favourite part, the tailored clothing, we cannot bypass that leather jacket at the beginning of the movie. Hi, I'm Michael. Welcome to my channel for the love of suits. If you're new here, we find inspiration on how to dress well from the best dressed men on the screen. Drop a new video every Thursday and shorts throughout the week. It's a classic leather jacket, also referred to as a simple or minimalist leather jacket. It has a collar, a main zip, and very other little detail on the jacket. But the number of panels the leather is cut from will depend on the quality and the cost of the jacket. A very high-end, expensive leather jacket will have probably one panel on the front, perhaps a little bit on the shoulders. Cheaper jackets will have more detail on them, and the reason for that is they can cut smaller pieces of leather, which is much cheaper. It's a mid-brown jacket, very flexible and wearable with many other colours. And finally, some tailored clothing has arrived, in the form of gangsters. So let's first look at the gangster's son Joseph as he arrives outside the headquarters. He's wearing a very slick suit, and honestly the kind of thing you'd expect a gangster to wear. It's not a bad suit, but the fabric is a little bit on the shiny side. It has notched lapels, they're also very narrow lapels. He's a slim guy, it doesn't look too bad, but they are a little bit on the narrow side and bring attention to themselves when they shouldn't. He's wearing the suit with a t-shirt, and in hot weather, that's quite an acceptable casual look, particularly if you're heading to a nightclub. I prefer a polo shirt with a suit in the summer because it protects your jacket collar from sweat from your neck. This is quite important. You do not want to sweat into your jacket collar, very difficult to clean, and you should not be bringing your suits to the dry cleaners more than once or twice a year. Possibly the biggest offence he's ever committed here is to wear the V-neck t-shirt with the suit. That does not work well. So if you're going to wear a t-shirt with a suit, going to a nightclub, make sure it's a round neck or a crew neck t-shirt. Next up is the daddy, Vigo, wearing a much more classic suit. A grey chalk stripe suit, very nice indeed. Bit of a collar gap, that's unfortunate, it happens in the movies all the time. He has a very interesting pattern necktie, it goes very well with the suit, but his big crime here is definitely that bright red shirt and the bright red pocket square to go with it. Red can be worn with classic style, but it should be a touch here and there. Perhaps in the tie and the pocket square, not this bright red and not so much. The problem with a bright red like that, it just looks like you're trying too hard and you're trying to get as much attention as possible. A very dark red burgundy shirt going to a nightclub late at night, or depending on the suit color, might work a lot better. Stay away from bright red shirts like that. It's kind of a rookie mistake when they're trying to call attention to their suit. The best dressed of all three is Avi, who I assume is the gangster's lawyer. He's wearing a plain grey suit, also very high quality fabric, but you can instantly see that it's not as shiny as the sun's. He has a cream shirt on, a nice touch to go off-white like that, and a very low-key necktie. Without a doubt, looking at all three of these gentlemen, he is the best dressed of all of them. And ironically, that makes him, most noticeably, the best dressed of the three men here. If you're enjoying this video so far, then please like and subscribe, it really helps the channel. Or if you're feeling generous, become a member. And check out our comment section, we have a great community there. John Wick's suit makes its appearance. This is a fabulous suit and definitely noteworthy. Possibly worthy of being listed separately in the cast. Let's take a quick look at the suit itself before analysing it. It's a plain fabric, dark grey suit, three-piece with notched lapels. The lapel width is excellent for his frame and it's a perfect balance. The jacket is a classic fit, meaning it's quite long, and Keanu Reeves' fit, being a tall and slim man, reminds me a little bit of Pierce Brosnan as James Bond. It has strong shoulders and a tapered waist and flat pockets. It's quite a classic. A side effect of wearing a clean, simple suit with the plain fabric is that if you wear any other elements with your suit, it's going to help them stand out. And some people balk at this. I don't, I'm a big fan of it myself. You will find a lot of people who are fans of classic menswear will insist that your shirt actually be lighter than the suit you're wearing. Now, there's a very good reason for this, and I happen to agree it's a good idea. But classic menswear doesn't actually have rules, it just has guidelines for you to follow, particularly if you're a beginner and you might be unsure of yourself. But as time goes by, each person needs to develop their own style and be comfortable with it. And I'm very comfortable with the look of a dark shirt with a suit. And today's video is sponsored by me. I have a style consultancy business through my website. You can find a link in the description below. What do I offer? Well, my speciality is, of course, tailored wear. Everything from sports jackets to three-piece suits. And everything in between, and especially the fabrics they are made from. Why would you need help? Perhaps you have a wardrobe full of clothes that you never wear and you don't even know if anything goes together. We can find out what goes well together and what you should keep and what you should ditch because it no longer works for you. Or you may be starting out and you want to know how to set up a nice wardrobe for yourself within a particular budget. So why ask me for my opinion? Well, my experience comes from over 10 years of working closely with tailors. I have had suits fitted and made for me from about €250 for a 3-piece custom fitted suit, and the cheapest Shanghai has to offer, all the way through many suits made from different fabrics from VBC to Huddersfield, to Hardy Minis, to Holland and Sherry, all the way up to my most expensive suit, over €2,000, also made in Shanghai by a very good tailor. On top of that, the rest of my knowledge comes from years of reading books by famous authors such as Simon Crompton, Hugo Jacome, and of course The Gentleman's Bible, Dressing the Man by Alan Flusser. And I have years of experience giving advice to people on how to dress and what is best for them. And I do not impress my own personal style on people. I find out what they want and give them the best advice to give them the wardrobe that they want to have. So check out the link from my website in the description below and see if I can help you strengthen your wardrobe. This is not just a monochrome look, but it's a monotone look. It's very effective, very dramatic, very stylish, quite sophisticated. It's not for everybody, I know, and not everybody can pull it off. But I do think it has a proper place in the style lexicon. I think 2 words we could throw at John Wick's look here is elegant and sophisticated. I think it's great that they went for dark grey rather than black here. Black could be a little bit overpowering. However, the reason they did it was John Wick was a very low budget movie and they didn't want to spend too much time on the lighting, which is very, very expensive, particularly when you move from set to set. Also, the low budget meant they actually bought off the rack clothing. But they had their own tailors to adjust the suit, adding details, making it look much more like a custom suit. While fit is king, getting an off-rack suit to fit Keanu Reeves I think is no big challenge. The necktie appears to be plain, but it actually has diagonal stripes of texture on the tie. A very nice little touch. No screaming red shirts here, until it's covered in blood. The clothing designer Luca Mosca was hired for this movie because he's well known for dressing sleek and extremely elegant characters. So is it possible for an ordinary man to wear a suit like this without calling too much attention to himself? Well, I think you will call attention to yourself if you're wearing this kind of suit, but that's partly the point. But again, unlike the red shirt, it's not calling too much attention. And I think if you're wearing a suit like this out at nighttime, going to nightclubs, going dining, going on dates, it wouldn't be too much. However, during the daytime, perhaps you could pull off the same look with a lighter grey colour. Vigo makes another appearance, and this time he has toned things down a little bit. He's wearing a very nice pinstripe dark grey suit this time with notched lapels. Suit is an excellent cut, except for the collar gap again. The tie is very interesting, but here we will see how he's gone for a black shirt rather than a white shirt. He just can't help himself. An environment is everything. It completely depends on where he is and what he's doing, whether this black shirt is going to look like it's too much or not. But at the same time, it's a movie and they're trying to convey a dark character here, a violent gangster. And not just colour and depth, but contrast matters as well. Now, he doesn't have to wear a white shirt here. Nothing wrong with the white shirt, it's a very elegant look as well. However, it's very common, and if he wanted to try something a little different, he could have tried a light or dark grey shirt, matching the suit better than the black shirt. And that collar gap again. You will notice Keanu Reeves does not have a collar gap in the movie. According to the costume designer, Keanu Reeves is obsessed with looking elegant and keeping good posture, which of course also helps avoid a collar gap. So let me introduce you to Harry, another character in the world of John Wick, and another chance for us to look at a dark shirt with a suit. Harry is wearing a mid-grey suit with a black shirt and a classic stripy tie. I think Harry here looks better than Vigo in the last scene with the black shirt, and there's a couple of reasons why. Harry, of course, has black skin, which lowers the contrast with the black shirt and the grey suit. Secondly, he's wearing a vest, so even though he has the jacket off, this helps minimize the amount of black shirt showing. If you really want to wear such a striking shirt, it is a good idea to minimize the amount of exposure. And wearing a vest and a necktie and a jacket will cover it up and make it much more pleasing to the eye. Contrast is always an issue. How dark or light your skin is with how much you contrast your shirt and your jacket is very important. If you're a very pale skinned person with dark black hair, you're going to be able to get away with a black suit and a white shirt and look quite good. If, like me, you have a little bit of a tan, plus you have no hair or very light hair, a black suit with a white shirt is just going to look terrible on you and your whole face is going to look washed out. So high contrast and low contrast will depend on your own colouring with your skin and your hair. And here we have Vigo once again sticking with those black and red colours and giving us another opportunity to look at a different interpretation. This is a lot better than his first red shirt, strikingly so. However, he still could have made a couple of little changes to make it even better. He has his dark grey pinstripe suit back on, and he has gone for a very dark burgundy shirt this time, rather than the bright red one we saw in the beginning. This is important, again, the contrast between the suit and the shirt, and with the vest and the necktie covering it up, has minimized the amount of red. Red works very well on men, more as a touch than the main colour, and this is why. However, I would make the suggestion that he should have completely avoided red in his necktie and his pocket square. Usually that's a good thing to reflect the colours that you're wearing, but in this case there's enough burgundy shirt and I don't think you should be calling more attention to it. And also it backs up my case that I really believe that if you're going to go for a very strong colour like burgundy, make it as dark as possible to work well for you. Bright colours are very difficult to match. And on a visit to the nightclub to hunt down the son that killed his dog and stole his car, you can instantly see a simple change like the colour of the shirt completely changes his look. I'm not sure why he chose a white shirt to go to the nightclub. A grey shirt would have worked perfectly well there too. And it looks great. It's a very simple change. This is the power of grey. It really allows you to be very flexible with your suits. A black suit with a white shirt just doesn't have the same look and the same feel. But as the rest of the movie, John Wick's clothing style is sticking to the monochrome palette. Everything is a shade of black and white. This helps him look more sophisticated and elegant and stand out from the gangsters.